The Temple of Karnak didn't just pop up overnight. It started being built around 1500 BCE, which is over 3,500 years ago, and people kept adding to it for about 1,300 years. That's a really long time. Different pharaohs, who were the kings and queens of ancient Egypt, worked on it over the centuries, each leaving their mark. Here's a simple timeline of some key moments. Around 1500 BC, a pharaoh named Senusret I started construction. Between 1479 and 1458 BCE, Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's famous female pharaohs, added a beautiful temple to the complex. From 1279 to 1213 BC, Ramses II, a super famous pharaoh, built the hypostyle hall, which we'll talk about more later, and other structures. Between 664 and 332 BC, during a time called the Third Intermediate Period, the complex got some renovations and new additions. From 332 to 30 BC, during the Ptolemaic period, when Greek rulers were in charge of Egypt, they kept adding to and fixing up Karnak. Because so many different people worked on it over such a long time, Karnak is like a mix of different styles and designs from different parts of ancient Egyptian history. It's like a big, beautiful puzzle made of stone. Karnak is famous for its incredible buildings and structures. The ancient Egyptians were amazing builders, and Karnak is full of examples of their talent. Let's talk about some of the coolest parts. One of the most jaw-dropping parts of Karnak is the hypostyle hall. This is a huge room filled with 134 giant stone columns arranged in 16 rows. Imagine walking into a massive forest of stone pillars, each one covered in detailed carvings and hieroglyphics. This hall was built during the time of Ramses II and is considered one of the greatest things the ancient Egyptians ever built. The hall is enormous, 5,000 square meters, which is bigger than a football field. Each column is unique, with its own carvings, making it a masterpiece of art and engineering. Another really cool part of Karnak is the Sacred Lake. This is a big, man-made lake that measures 80 meters by 40 meters. It was used for religious ceremonies, like rituals where priests would purify themselves before praying to the gods. The lake is surrounded by a walkway, and even today, it still holds water. It's a peaceful and important part of the complex, and it shows how the Egyptians thought about cleanliness and spirituality. Then there's the Avenue of Sphinxes, which is like a long, grand road that stretches 2.7 kilometers from Karnak to another temple called the Temple of Luxor. This road is lined with statues of sphinxes, which are mythical creatures with the body of a lion and the head of a human or sometimes a ram. These sphinxes represent the god Ammonius, who was super important at Karnak. The avenue was used for big processions and ceremonies during the New Kingdom period, and the sphinxes are lined up in 2 rows, facing the direction of the procession. It's like a parade route for ancient Egyptian festivals. Karnak wasn't just a pretty place. It was a major religious center for the ancient Egyptians. It was built to honor 3 main gods, Ammonius, Mut, and Khonsu. Ammonius was seen as the king of the gods, Mut was his wife, and Khonsu was their son. Together, they were like the holy family of ancient Egyptian religion. People from all over Egypt would travel to Karnak to pray and make offerings to these gods. The temple was a busy place, full of priests who performed rituals every day to keep the gods happy. These rituals included things like offering food and other gifts to gods, as well as big festivals like the Festival of Opet, which celebrated the fertility of the land, and the Festival of the Valley, which honored people who had passed away. The high priest of Ammonius was a really important person at Karnak. He was like the boss of the temple and acted as the earthly representative of the god Ammonius. His job was to lead the rituals, manage the temple, and make sure everything ran smoothly. He was a powerful figure, not just in the temple, but in all of ancient Egyptian society, because keeping the gods happy was a big deal. The Temple of Karnak is like a time machine that lets us see what ancient Egypt was like. It shows us how skilled they were at building, how much they cared about their gods, and how their society worked. The huge columns, the detailed carvings, the massive lake, and the long avenue of sphinxes all tell a story of a civilization that was incredibly advanced and deeply spiritual. Even today, When you visit Karnak, you can feel the history and the grandeur. It's a place that makes you stop and think about how amazing the ancient Egyptians were. It's not just a pile of old stones. It's a window into a world that was full of wonder, faith, and creativity.